and his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance.
Neither JD nor I expected to find ourselves in this position, but it's hard to imagine a more powerful example of the American dream. Usha has always been someone who aimed high. Now, balancing the roles of second lady, wife, and mother to three energetic children, she and JD Vance seem to be managing it all, at least on the surface. But recently, Usha grabbed headlines when she finally broke into tears and revealed the truth about JD Vance. What did she say? And could this be the end for them? You know, obviously, this is like nothing we've done before. Join us as we dive into the full story. To fully understand why Usha broke into tears and what was revealed about her husband, JD Vance, we have to go back to the very beginning of 1986 when a bright and determined girl was born in sunny California. Usha Bala Chilukuri entered the world on January 6, 1986, in a peaceful suburb of San Diego County, California. Her parents, Krish and Lakshmi Chilukuri, had come to the United States from India in the 1980s, carrying not just their cultural heritage but also an unshakable belief in the power of education. They were part of the Telugu-speaking Brahmin community, known for its academic rigor and intellectual tradition. And with parents like hers, Usha was practically destined for greatness. Her father, a mechanical engineer from the prestigious IIT Madras, became a respected lecturer at San Diego State University. Meanwhile, her mother, a molecular biologist, built an impressive career in academia, eventually becoming a provost at the University of California, San Diego. If anyone ever wondered where Usha got her sharp mind and relentless drive, the answer was obvious: education and ambition ran deep in her veins. Growing up in the upper-middle-class neighborhood of Rancho Penasquitos, Usha had a childhood that balanced hard work with fun. She wasn't just a quiet kid buried in books, though she did love to read. She was also a natural leader. Friends from her school days at Mount Carmel High School remember her as someone who was always on top of things, whether it was leading a team, playing the flute in the school's marching band, or acing her classes. But Usha wasn't just about academic success, she had a heart for service, too. She spent time volunteering in local elementary schools, guiding young Girl Scouts, and even serving as editor-in-chief of Our Education, an education policy publication. While many students were still figuring out their paths, she was already shaping discussions about the future of education. When it came time for college, there was no doubt that Usha was heading for one of the best. She landed at Yale University, where she earned a history degree, graduating summa cum laude. That's an ultra-fancy way of saying she crushed it academically. Not only that, but she was also inducted into Phi Beta Kappa, the country's most prestigious academic honor society. After finishing Yale, Usha decided to take her talents overseas. She became a Yale China Teaching Fellow and spent time in Guangzhou, China, teaching English and American history at Sun Yat-sen University. But her hunger for knowledge wasn't quite satisfied yet. She then crossed the Atlantic to study at Cambridge University in England, where she earned a Master of Philosophy in Early Modern History as a Gates Cambridge Scholar. Clearly, she wasn't just book smart, she had an insatiable curiosity about the world. By 2013, Usha had made her way back to Yale, this time for law school. And just like before, she wasn't content to simply be a student. She became deeply involved. She was the executive development editor of the Yale Law Journal, managing editor of the Yale Journal of Law and Technology, and an editor for the Yale Law and Policy Review. But beyond the academic hustle, she took part in real-world legal work, helping with the Supreme Court Advocacy Clinic, the Media Freedom and Information Access Clinic, and even assisting Iraqi refugees through a special legal project. It was at Yale Law that she met a fellow student named JD Vance, a Marine veteran from a completely different background, one shaped by poverty and struggle in Appalachia. The two fell in love, and JD would later describe Usha as brilliant and way more accomplished than I am. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. But more on them later. With all of that background, it is clear that a law career was an inevitable option for Usha. At that moment, She wasn't just another ambitious student hoping to land a solid job after law school, she was a force to be reckoned with, a brilliant mind with an unmatched work ethic. She set out on a path that would take her to some of the most powerful legal chambers in the country. And when Usha goes for something, she doesn't settle for anything less than the best. Right after earning her law degree from Yale in 2013, she jumped straight into some of the most prestigious clerkships a young lawyer could dream of. First up, a federal clerkship with Judge Amol Thapar on the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Kentucky. For those unfamiliar with the legal world, a federal clerkship is like a golden ticket. It opens doors to top-tier law firms, major government roles, and even the Supreme Court. But Usha wasn't stopping there. She quickly moved up the ranks, clerking for none other than then-Judge Brett Kavanaugh on the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit in 2014. And if that name sounds familiar, well, it should. Brett later became a U.S. Supreme Court justice. Still, the biggest moment of her early career came when she landed a clerkship with the highest legal authority in the land, Chief Justice John Roberts of the U.S. Supreme Court. This is the kind of opportunity that only the most elite legal minds receive. While working under Chief Justice Roberts from 2017 to 2018, Usha was part of cases that shaped national policy. She even worked on Azar versus Garza, a case involving a juvenile undocumented immigrant in U.S. custody seeking an abortion. Talk about high stakes. But Usha wasn't just content with an impressive judicial resume, she wanted to make an impact in the real-world legal field. So she transitioned from clerkships to private practice, joining Munger, Tolles & Olson, one of the most elite law firms in the country. Working in both their San Francisco and Washington, D.C. offices, she handled major cases in higher education, local government, entertainment, and technology. In short, she wasn't just practicing law, she was influencing how it was shaped. Now, let's put this into perspective. While most lawyers might dream of handling just one high-profile case in their lifetime, Usha was juggling multiple. She worked with Hollywood giants like Paramount Pictures, the Regents of the University of California, and even the Walt Disney Company. Then, in a move that caught many by surprise, Usha did something unexpected. In July 2024, after nearly 6 years at Munger, Tolles & Olson, she decided to step away from her law career. She wasn't leaving to chase another high-powered position or take on a government role, she was stepping back to focus on her family. Speaking of family, let's go back to the story, the beginning of which we have already heard. We know that Usha and JD Vance met at Yale Law School. But their story isn't just about two brilliant law students crossing paths. It's about two completely different worlds colliding in the most unexpected way. Greatest achievement is without a doubt their 3 children, Yuan, Vic, and Maribel. Parenthood is a journey that can humble even the most accomplished professionals, and for Usha and JD, it has been no different. From sleepless nights with a newborn to juggling careers and cross-country moves, their family has been through it all. And yet, through the chaos, they have built a home filled with love, learning, and a whole lot of laughter. Every first-time parent will tell you, your firstborn is your trial run. No matter how many books you read or how prepared you think you are, the reality of raising a tiny human is always more challenging than expected. For Usha and JD, that learning curve began in June 2017, when they welcomed their first son, Yuan Blaine Vance. The news of Yuan's birth was shared with the world through journalist Megyn Kelly, who posted a photo of the new family of 3, congratulating them on their little bundle of joy. Though the Vances have kept their children largely out of the public eye, this rare moment offered a glimpse into their new life as parents. With Yuan, JD and Usha stepped into uncharted territory, balancing their demanding careers while navigating the unpredictable world of parenthood. Sleepless nights, first words, first steps, it was all new, and it was all an adventure. Given that JD had grown up in a chaotic household, creating a stable and loving environment for his son was a top priority. But make no mistake, Yuan wasn't just their little science experiment in parenting, he became the center of their world. The first to make them laugh as parents, the first to remind them that life wasn't just about careers and ambitions. Then came Vic, born in February 2020, right before the world went into lockdown. If Yuan made JD and Usha first-time parents, Vic turned them into real parents, the ones who have to manage the energy and chaos of two little ones at once. Parenting one child is exhausting, but parenting two? That's a whole new level of multitasking. Suddenly, it wasn't just about figuring out nap schedules and baby food, it was about keeping up with two wildly different personalities under one roof. Vic's birth also coincided with JD's rising political career, which meant that while JD was making public appearances and writing about policy, he was also knee-deep in diaper changes and toddler tantrums. In February 2024, JD made headlines when he spoke about missing his son's 4th birthday due to Senate responsibilities. Instead of being home for dinner, he found a creative way to send his love, reading "Oh, the places you'll go" on the Senate floor and inserting Vic's name into the final verse. A touching moment that showed even in the midst of political debates and legislative battles, JD's heart was always with his kids. Just when they thought life couldn't get any crazier, December 2021 brought an early Christmas gift, their first daughter, Mirabelle Rose. JD announced her birth on social media, calling her a blessing and sharing just how grateful they were to have her in time for the holiday season. With two older brothers to look after her, Mirabelle is undoubtedly the princess of the family, the one who gets doted on by everyone. A baby girl in a house full of boys? You can only imagine the energy shift. While her brothers were busy running around and causing a ruckus, Mirabelle was the calm in the storm. Or at least, that's what most baby girls are expected to be. But knowing JD and Usha's kids, she's probably just as strong-willed and full of personality as her brothers. For JD and Usha, raising 3 kids while managing demanding careers hasn't been easy. There were late nights, missed birthdays, and moments of exhaustion. But through it all, they've remained a team. Fast forward to January 20th, 2025. The nation is watching. History is unfolding, and the eyes of the world are locked on Washington, D.C., as JD Vance takes the oath of office, officially becoming the Vice President of the United States. He is only 40 years old, making him the 3rd youngest Vice President in American history, trailing just behind John Breckinridge and Richard Nixon. Standing by his side, as she always has, is Usha Vance, now the 2nd Lady of the United States and the 1st in American history to be of Indian origin and Hindu faith. It's a moment of immense political significance, a milestone for the family, and a massive shift in their personal lives. But let's be real for a second, despite all the grandeur, prestige, and historical weight of this day, at the core, they're still just 2 parents of 3 small kids. And no amount of political power can make parenting easier. The inauguration was as ceremonial and dignified as expected, until the reality of raising 3 little ones crept in. While JD was being sworn in, looking every bit the composed and polished statesman, Usha had her hands full, quite literally. As the cameras panned to the Vance family during the ceremony, an instantly relatable moment unfolded. Their son, likely tired, overwhelmed, and utterly unimpressed with the hours of formal proceedings, started squirming in his seat. Usha, dressed impeccably and exuding grace, leaned over to deliver what every parent recognizes as the look. You know the one, the silent warning that communicates "not now, not here, and if you don't stop this instant, there will be consequences." But kids don't care about history. One of the Vance boys was fidgeting, testing his mother's patience in front of a national audience. And for a brief moment, the calm, collected, Ivy League-educated attorney almost lost her cool. Social media went wild. Within minutes, X exploded with clips of Usha Vance, the most relatable mom in America. Parents everywhere chimed in, saying things like, "See? Even the 2nd Lady has to deal with this." And forget politics, this is the most real moment of the entire inauguration. And really, who could blame her? The pomp and pageantry of Washington don't mean much to a 4-year-old who just wants a snack or a nap. However, even though Usha and JD Vance looked like a powerful couple, they couldn't avoid rumors about them either, specifically, a bizarre and viral claim that Usha had secretly filed for divorce ahead of the 2024 election, fearing she would be trapped in an unhappy marriage if JD made it to the White House. This wasn't just a whisper among internet trolls, it was a full-blown social media storm. The story gained traction thanks to a viral TikTok video from a user named Aubrey, who confidently delivered what seemed like airtight information. Usha Vance was walking away from her marriage before it was too late. Naturally, the internet ran with it. People speculated wildly. Was Usha unhappy with JD's politics? Was she being pressured to stay in a marriage she no longer wanted? Recently left her high-powered legal career only fueled the gossip. To some, it seemed like she was preparing for a major life change. But was it really divorce? Then, just 37 seconds into the video, the TikToker suddenly smirked and dropped a truth bomb. See how easy it is to make up stories. That's right, the entire thing was fake. Just a carefully crafted hoax to prove how misinformation spreads like wildfire. And yet, despite the obvious debunking, the rumor refused to die. Despite the chaos, JD and Usha continued to appear together, looking every bit the committed couple on the campaign trail. If there was tension, they hid it well. Usha was often front and center at JD's speeches, listening intently, giving feedback, and, if reports are to be believed, making sure he didn't go too far off script. Of course, their marriage has always raised eyebrows. JD, the rough-edged Appalachian kid turned Yale-educated politician, and Usha, the poised intellectual daughter of Indian immigrants, seemed like an unlikely pair. But somehow, their differences worked. JD has often credited Usha with pushing him to aim higher in life, calling her his Yale spirit guide, while she, in turn, seems to ground him in reality. Still, even after the TikTok rumor was debunked, people couldn't help but wonder, was there actually trouble behind the scenes? And that's what led to Usha finally speaking out. The truth about JD Vance. At 39, Usha Vance finally broke into tears and revealed the truth about JD Vance. Sitting down for what was supposed to be a routine conversation, the poised and composed second lady found herself overwhelmed with emotion as she addressed the swirling rumors about her marriage. Through quiet sobs, she admitted what many had speculated. It's true. He's always gone. Her voice trembled as she spoke. JD's job has taken him away so much, campaigning, meetings, speeches. There are days when I barely see him, and it's hard. It's really hard. For a moment, she paused, wiping away tears before her voice steadied. But the thing is, I can't imagine my life without him. Usha went on to explain that after so many years together, they had built a rhythm, one that wasn't always perfect, but one that worked for them. We've been together for so long that we just know how to be. This is our life, and we made this choice together. Then, just as the weight of her words settled, a small smile broke through. Her tone softened, and in a moment of warmth and humor, she admitted with a laugh, I'll confess, I can't stand him when he's too caught up in work. But I love him, and I always will. It was the most honest glimpse into their marriage yet, imperfect, challenging, but undeniably full of love. Do you think it's fair that one partner often has to make career sacrifices in high-pressure marriages? Should there always be a balance, or is this a necessary reality for powerful couples? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more.